Hey, experience. You had it before.
Prost.
Prost.
That's good coffee.
Very sweet.
Yeah, thanks, Moro. Yeah, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. We are back with coffee and beer and what's in the rum usually, whatever. But it's NMP. We're back in Skydiving City, not really Skydiving City, but back with NMP PCH HayaBusa. And we're going to do something different today, a little bit different. We're not going to talk much about training and competition and all that and the latest updates and so forth. We're going to do a little bit storytelling because we have a lot of stories to tell. We are here now seeing like 5 different generations of HayaBusa, and the transition from one to the next one has a lot of stories in it. So just very briefly, somebody give us a quick summary. Today was the last training day, right?
Yes, exactly. So we're finishing our camp today. I think we've been here since last Monday. It was its first training camp with Ray. It was actually pretty good, and I think we can slowly transition now into indoor. Ray can do his basic boot camp, and then we will meet again after his boot camp somewhere towards the end of February, and then we will go to New Zealand, and our second phase of the year will start. Let's say.
Pretty good, he said. Did you hear that? It was pretty good actually with you, Ray. Is anybody really excited about it too? Like you? I'm sure it was good. How many jumps did you make eventually?
54.
54? Oh, yeah. Not bad, right? It's in a week.
Yeah.
Okay, so we will hear very soon. We'll hear more about indoor training and competitions, and all that is coming up soon. But let's go to some storytelling. And I've been thinking about this for a little while, and I don't know. There are so many questions and so much to talk about. I'm hoping we can get it all done, in a reasonable time frame. But I would be curious, Ray, for you. Have you met other former HayaBusa members besides the ones that you know here?
No, not really. No.
So the founder, the godfather of the whole thing, Sven Ebens.
You've seen him, huh?
I've seen him, but I've
Seen him,
never
not
really
talked to him or anything.
No.
So let's go back to the roots.
I'll tell you something to go back to.
Yeah, I know.
Let me start because it struck me somewhere in the beginning of the week. So I asked the question to the team like, okay, so Ray was born in 2004. What were you doing in 2004? That was the question I actually asked. What were you doing in 2004? I was thinking about what I was doing when he was born, and I was actually in the lead going into my first World Championship in Croatia. That was when that young guy was actually born. That's how long it was ago. Yeah.
And it was already the 2004.
That was my first.
Third,
it was my first World Championship.
Yeah, no, but the third year of HayaBusa, right?
Yes. Well, we were found actually in the end of 2002, so I consider 2003, 2004 as 2 complete training years. Yeah. That's when that little guy actually saw his life light.
Another very interesting difference is also, and you can elaborate on this, but it was not a military team by then.
No, exactly. I mean, we were just like weekend warriors. We were very eager. I mean, even going back before, I was like 19 years old when I met Sven, and he hooked me up in his team. And then eventually, I think we stayed like 3 years together before we founded HayaBusa together. But in
so
that
you
team,
and Sven, you actually started HayaBusa?
Yeah. We were in a team called the Roeiers together with 2 other older, very good like Belgium national team members. and it started from there. I mean, they gave me all the tricks and that I needed to know by then, and eventually we took it as a pre-flight, let's say, and then we took off. But because you immediately felt like when Roy and Andy stepped into the team, the wildness that we had, the eagerness that you showed, I think the ingredients were there. We just, I think, like the majority of all teams, just had a lack of finances because Andy was still going to school. He was 17 years old. We had a lack of time. So we had to wait until Andy actually came out of school, and then together we kind of like lift off once a little bit more financial breathing room, let's say.
And then your dad was somehow already, he was skydiving too, right?
Yeah, true. I mean, he was the...
Alex, hello, my friend.
Yeah, father. No, he kind of supported us as much as he could. My whole family was eventually like embedded in Skydive Flanders in Schaffe. And so as a young guy, I was maybe a little bit more older, but Andy definitely was a young boy when he got the taste of skydiving, let's say, because I think he was like 8 years old when he did his tandem, and he just had to wait until he was 16 before he could eventually join his course of.
So he's not the youngest. Ray is not even the youngest HayaBusa member. Andy was even younger.
Yeah, Andy was like, he was picked out of school almost. Yeah, 17 years old. He was barely out of his AFF course.
And then
I can be wrong, but I think he almost had like 50 or 60 jumps. It's insane.
So let's fast forward. Well, there's one question I still wanted to ask. When the original lineup was finally together training, did you already think by then we want to be world champion one day?
Thinking that you want to be, yes. Knowing that you can. When we won the in 2005 the European Championship in Stupino, then I was like, hey, you know what? We're not that far off. We're just lagging jumps because we had a good coach. With Doug Park, we had a good coach. We were eager. We did not know anything about like technique and whatever, but we were so wild, and that made up for many things. But eventually, I think if you look back at the videos from 2005, it will just summon that whole experience of what I just told you. But I think the realization came like, you know what? If we just stay together, step by step, we will make it. And eventually that lead up into a 20 plus average in 2006. That was not bad for a weekend team.
Stupino 2005. I guess I guess a younger brother got quite excited there about and missed him at the award ceremony.
Yeah. That was the whole drinking experience. Yeah. He was world famous instantly when he went blackout. Yeah. Everybody was, and not by name, but actually by his nickname, Shorty. Oh. Everybody was yelling his name because he eventually did not get up onto the podium to collect his medal, his golden medal. No, he was on a stretcher somewhere in the hangar, trying to get sober again.
We're doing storytelling, you see.
Yeah. I can still remember that.
Let's fast forward by a few years only, because then the next step was the transition into the military, because after 2005 you felt like we're actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Maybe we could get further, to the top of the world, but we have to do something for that.
Yeah. It's not that we had to do something with it. We had three options. If I just put the cards on the table, there were three options. The option was like, hey, you know what? The group, like how we had it in the end of 2006, it was so nice with Roy, with Andy, with Bruno, with Sven and myself, how we were and how we were treated with Skydive Spa. There were like an unlimited amount of jumps for free that we can train, but we still had to, at least 4 of the 5 still had to work. I was working at the drop zone, but the other ones still had a job to do. So one of the options was like, you know what? Let's keep doing what we're doing right now, and eventually also knowing that the ultimate goal would never be reached. The other option was Natasha Montgomery actually was still jumping with Shannon and then also with Gary, and that team fell apart, and she wanted to become world champion in the next 4 years again, but then with us. That was an option to go and live in Eloy for 4 years. Yeah, I mean, not everybody needs to know, but that was an option to go to Eloy for 4 years, train. She would sponsor, she would provide money and resources and whatever. And then, of course, was the option to go into the military. And if you put the three options next to each other, yeah, if you think long term, yeah, the option that we have now it was the better one. Looking back in hindsight, was the better one. But you get the three cards on the table, and there's like, yeah, which one do you take? Because also knowing that if you would go not with the original lineup, it means that the lineup would split. Only 3 would go into the next phase of Hayabusa, let's say. So we had to split up the team, and that was kind of sad. It was sad because the group was very attached. We were very close. We had so much fun together. It was a road that we took together, and not knowing where eventually it would lead out to, but it had to split.
You chose the military option. You decided, and then that's when Sven could not continue.
Yes, Sven and Bruno had to leave because of they had major positions in their businesses.
But that was the beginning of what we know now about Hayabusa. You know, it's a SISM team of Belgium. So that started in 2006, basically after the World Championship.
Yeah, let's say 8 January 2007, officially.
And then you had Mr. Luc Verstrepen in the lineup first. Have you heard about this name?
I've heard of that one, but
yeah, you may not see him on the job site anymore. He is more at the golf course, I guess. But he's coaching the Qatar.
Yeah. Well, in short, if I would say, what happened with Luc was we went into the military team, and we were with 3. It was Andy, Roy, and myself. So it was like, okay, who do we take? And then just like we did right now and finding Ray, we also went to Bedford and tried multiple different people to eventually try to form a team with, or finding a new team member. And we couldn't. It was very hard, and it just did not fit. And then we asked Luc, like, hey, you're available. He was already like, if I look back, maybe 45, let's say,
and
my age almost. And he said yes to help the team again, because he also had like comebacks before. He's like, I'm gonna out. Okay, they pull me back in, and then new team members. I'm gonna go out, and then I have to go back in again. So I know now what he felt. But we were very lucky with Luc stepping into the team, and also showing that 2 years later we became number 3 of the world, barely not winning. If you look at the result list.
Bob and Dennis, were you already Belgian soldiers by then? Both of you?
2008, yes.
2008 was with Luc?
2007, 2008 was with Luc. Yes.
Okay, so you were already in the army.
Actually, I was maybe jumping for 1 year, and I knew about the guys. And back then, it was very hard for paratroopers to get through all the training and get to the unit. So I was already in a paratrooper unit, and they sent people from the unit to like the basic boot camp that they were attending. So I was there as a sergeant, not as a candidate, and they were there as the soldiers running around doing all the
what we need to do next
week.
And we are still 6 years away or 5 years away until you're coming into the picture,
exactly.
Right?
So I didn't know the guys yet, but I knew they were skydiving, and that was why they joined the army. So it was already like,
exactly. You were probably thinking
that might be a good career, career direction. Yeah, but I was still very beginner in my jumping.
So then there was Luc decided to be back out, open it up for younger guys. So that next one was your predecessor, which was Weidong, right?
So yeah.
How did you end up with Weidong?
Sure, yeah. I mean, when we joined the army, Luc already had like 2 young guys. Young, I mean, they were still like 26, 27, I think. Is that young? He's young. He was already a little bit more older.
Young.
So, and they were there, but they did not have the quality yet to step into the team. I mean, looking back in hindsight, of course, that's dumb to think about that like that. But we also did not know better. I mean, we kind of now perfected our technique, so we know what it takes to become the next world champion. And if you take that, let's say, that experience and you put it back to somebody and you transition it to somebody new, then eventually you will get there. At that moment, we knew nothing. There was nobody that said like, this is the ultimate way for Hayabusa to get there. So we kind of like had to fine tune ourselves.
So was it a tryout then for?
No, they were there. It was Jeroen de Meijer and Solveig Dom, and they were there. And eventually they stayed as alternate. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Then Luke stepped out, and we had to choose between one of both. And team-wise, both of them would have been okay, but we took Sol. And then Jeroen de Meijer said like, okay, if Sol does this, then I'm gonna do other military stuff, and I'm gonna try to go for a different military career, what I absolutely endorse.
And then he competed in Russia.
So he did 2009, 2010, and then he also said like,
and then
for me it's
finished. But Dennis, you were already in Russia in Menzelinsk 2010. I remember that because I woke up one morning on the couch in the lobby, and there was a young Belgian man sitting next to me. And that was you. I will never forget that. So you were already in the Hayabusa environment by then.
Yeah, so when I started skydiving in summer of 2005, it was at the same time that I went into the military. So we kind of went in the same direction. And my father knows Alex very well, knows also Dave, Andy, the family really well. So very quickly when I started skydiving, I saw the guys as well, and I wanted to do the same. But that was 2005, 2006. They were not army yet. I was already in the army. So I started training, blindsided by what the future might hold and where it might have went. And then in 2007, when they joined the army, I saw paths coming together, and so I kept going. At one point, Bob came into the picture with me doing 2-on-2 with the guys, and then by the time Sol was in the team, I think like half a year before Menzelinsk or a little bit more, he announced that Menzelinsk will be his last competition. So they were already looking then for what's up next, and it was the choice between Bob and myself. So
you were so close already by then too.
Yeah, he was. So I think in the beginning of 2010, they already asked me as an alternate to join the team in some camps where I was available, and because they were military and I was military, it was just a matter of orders, let's say, of like communicating between units that they want to take me. So I was already joining a little bit, and I was there in Menzelinsk to help pack and just to be there, see what the team atmosphere is like, and then they did the competition, and then after that it was my turn, and my first competition was at the Grand Prix of Roosendaal, which was not that long after
November.
It was just like they threw me straight in, and it was in the tunnel, so that's where my streak of tunnel wins started.
And then 2 years later, Hayabusa gets as close as you can imagine in your wildest dreams to become world champions for the first time. And you have a special story about that too. I have to say that, people know it probably by now, but
it's been a while.
Yeah, no, you start, AG. What is story?
Oh, well, I see it through my eyes, and obviously probably Dave sees it through different eyes, because I was nobody. They took me. I was super happy, but I was like them in the beginning. I was just flying as fast as I possibly could. And but it took me a while to figure out that, it's not always the best way to do. But Yeah, I mean, our first outdoor meet, we also in Dubai, was at the IPC. Don't know which one it was, but it was end of 2000. No, beginning of
Yeah, it must be
2011.
the first one.
11 must
Yeah.
be right.
It was not the first at the IPC. It was
No?
the second one, because I was not at the first, where with the planes flying close. No, it was the
Oh,
second
it's
one.
Solvaton. Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, and we won, like also like out of nowhere, because we went in there and the guys gave me they gave me a lot of pressure, and I gave myself a lot of pressure, but they said like, you know what, it's only normal if we're not, at the top level, but we won, and it was just like, I don't know, for me it was surreal, and that was my own experience. And I think for the guys, it was maybe also a little bit surreal that after so many years and coming so close, that now all of a sudden you hit top step. And
Were you there at the meet also physically as the alternate, or you were then?
Not the DIPC, but on the World Meet in 2012, yes.
Yeah, 12.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
so we hear more about 2012.
Yeah.
So was it the 11? Was it with airspeed and all the other top contenders?
Yeah,
I think not everybody
yeah.
was.
Airspeed
They were
was
all
there. Airspeed was there, but the older lineup with.
Okay.
But also Johnny Eagle was there.
Okay.
Yeah. No. I mean, if I can pick up.
Yeah, go ahead.
So you asked the question of when did you start realizing that you were like medal contenders? In 2012, that was December when the World Meet, the Mondial, would have been taking place. Right before, I think end of September, the US Nationals were taking place, and we did that draw as well. And that was the moment when we for the first time actually could beat airspeed. And at that moment, so in the beginning of October 2012, leading into Dubai, you would say like, you know what, we can have a big chance of winning. And we went into the Dubai meet very confident, of course. And at a certain moment, we were like equal 1 point behind, and then we got into a round 9, I think, with a 16. It was a 16 and 3 randoms, and we felt super confident because we knew that was our strength. We would have, that jump, that's gonna be ours. So we did it, and they matched us. And we're like, ooh, now we have to go equal into round 10. And that was a lot of pressure.
It was
so much pressure.
I remember even rounds before where, I don't know if that was round 9 with the 16, because I think it was earlier, where we were behind with 2 or 3 points. We did that round with the 16, and we said, like Dave said, okay, this is where we can take them. They matched, and we were like, oh fuck, still 2-3 points down. And then there was a 3 blocker where we didn't expect to, it was with a 20 and a 15 and something else, where we did not expect to beat them, because it was a 3 blocker. You'd be happy to just tie. And there we took 2 points to get equal again. And then we were like, all of a sudden, because we didn't believe it, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, now we're tied. And then we went into that's how I have to look back at it.
Differently. It was first the 20, we tied, we came back, then we did the 16, and then was round 10. Round 9, I can still picture it, how I felt. It was like, this is because we knew that was our strength. 3 randoms and then 1 block, that was, and then matched it.
And then came the
and then round 10.
So, but how about, let's see how Bob saw that from the outside. Then we can come to you.
I think the stupid part or hard part is that we already saw the video before it was on big screen, before there were hundreds of people watching it
in the tent.
So we knew what was gonna come. We knew the judges would see what was to be seen on that jump. So it was a bit unfortunately that the whole drop zone was there watching, but to give Dennis credit, if you look at the whole performance of the team, it was just not being built also towards him. So you already started to see it happening a little bit, like they're starting to cutting some corners, and eventually at that last 2 starts, it was too obvious that he couldn't reach it, and yeah. course,
So
it's Dennis' hand not touching Andy, but it's also how the donut is being built to the point.
Let's talk about this
So
technically so everybody really understands the drama of that. So we are in round 10 and there's a block 2 in there, right?
2,
Yep.
4, and a J.
Yeah.
So the top of block 2 is being built at 34.9.
33, let's say.
Few tenths of a second
Yeah.
left.
Mm.
And Dennis, as a point, has to get to that grip.
And the score was still
They were tied.
equal as
Yes.
airspeed was. So they were still going up
Yeah.
the same.
Round 10, 34.9 or 8 or something.
No. It was sooner because we already started the block.
Yeah,
we
yeah.
did not
Yeah.
reach. We
Yeah.
could not reach it. He won, and so Dennis starts the block. He almost goes to the other side, and then the
And
freeze
then
frame
freeze
is
frame
there.
is-
So
yeah. So the freeze frame is not on the moment where I reach
No.
for the grip. It's
Already.
further.
Correct.
So if you would look at it in hindsight, if that would have been built in the rhythm and I would have won because there was a hesitation of me not reaching, then I would have gotten around as well.
One additional
Then
point. and it
no,
would be a
2.
win.
Then you would have 2
Yeah,
additional
then it would
points.
be a win.
So yeah. So then you would have won
We were
with
shooting-
1 point. But that's all things in hindsight. And as Bob said, I mean, I don't blame. It's not. It's a team thing. We were all cutting corners. Me as well. From a 4 finish to the 2, where I turn around and not completely turning around to get the side body and almost like starting. We were all like just going for it, and like every transition, it was. My arm came longer and longer and longer, and all of a sudden it wasn't there anymore. But that's. we went balls in. We went balls in, and
It was,
for me, that's the competition that I feel that made me the competitor that I am today. That one, that loss. That second place was. After that, I think we all looked each other in the eye and said like, that's never going to happen again. And we went just training super hard, and we knew where we were at and where we could have gone to or could go to, and we just wanted to destroy now everything, all averages, all competition that came our way, and it went into a streak that lasted almost 10 years.
almost a decade. But we will surely watch that video when we are reporting the story or posting the interview. We will have the video there, and it was so shocking. You know, I remember I went behind the tent to see if this young man is alright, and he was standing behind crying, tears, and I had to start crying. You know,
I mean, the crying for me started already before, because that jump with the 16, that was an end of the day. Then that round 10 was actually the day after, but I can still remember, like, because the hotels in Dubai were so nice, and we had a golden bedroom. I can still remember, and I go into the bedroom in the morning, prepare myself for the day, and I was already in tears, because the tension was building up so high from the previous jump. So I had already tears, like, hey, what the hell is going on right here? And then the second time was actually, we were like in the plane to our altitude, and I had the same feeling again. It's like, oh my god, I have tears because of not understanding what that jump is going to. Imagine you have a let's say, in my mind, like a career lead up, build up, and then the summon of your training almost comes in that round. You can become the next world champion in that next round. So the tension, of course, was already building up before, but eventually when you see the score, then it was just like, okay, now just throw it out. Because you could not, you went into you saw the big screen, we went into a team, actually we were going to watch the performance as a team. Up until then, everything was still fine. But then, when people come and say, I'm sorry, congratulations, and we had to go to the tent of airspeed to congratulate them, and everybody was almost and then I was like, okay,
the killer
release.
The killer was
Sven,
Sven was the killer.
Sven did it, yeah.
We were holding everything in, like, as much as we could to be like, to go to airspeed. But Sven was already out. He came to us like, "Oh guys, I'm so proud of you," and I'm like, "Oh no, Sven!" Yeah, and then it was because he was there as well, obviously a godfather, but there was it's Sven's fault.
So now Ray, we are already at the point where you know Dave, of course. Bob was already in the picture when for the HayaBusa picture. Now Dennis is already in it. We're getting closer now, right? Mm-hmm. Is that kind of interesting for you? Did you know those kind of history stories? Or?
No, not really, because it's not really from my time. I was still 6 years old, so I didn't know about the sport.
Maybe later you heard about it or something. So those are dramatic, history-making stories. So you needed 2 more years, and then Bob says, "Wait for a moment, still not there yet." So 2 more years with the same lineup, right?
Yeah.
So that probably made a difference.
Super strong.
But we were strong, man.
Super
we were
strong.
so... That feeling,
that
we
was-
did not want it to have anymore. We went everything. We went like without skydiving, but the fitness level, the running level, everything was so on point. The diet, with the coach, because also Gary was now more in the picture because we had him almost like a year.
In 2012.
So
I had a year
barely a
of-
year, but then we had Gary for 2 years, and now that changed the team.
We threw everything at it.
You knew it would be yours.
No, because we went already to Prosteo as well. The plane, the turbo at that moment had no secrets for us. We trained so hard. We wanted to be absolutely ready, and I think we just crushed it when and also we planned it like a little team, like a seed, and that when in 2013 all the way up until 2021, let's say, we were unbeatable.
So then it happened, on the podium, first time, gold medals, Excalibur, all that kind of stuff. Pretty exciting, I guess. And then Roy says, "I'm done."
Mm.
And now the whole world thinks, "Bob? Who's Bob?" Bob, really? So Bob's coming in. And everybody thought Roy, who was, one of the celebrities.
Master in the slot.
Yes, the master in the slot, knows it in and out, original member. How can they ever get back to this performance level? Right? Well,
I think it is that doubt that they put in. I'm not gonna say in Bob, but that doubt, like how can someone ever replace that fueled him.
How did you so it fueled you. I would just want to ask, how did you feel about this? Big Roy leaving
the very first meet that we did was in December, I think, as well, in Dubai again, like the IPC. So we had like a fairly short training camp before. It was like my first training camp as Ray did now, so we did a bunch of exits. I funneled a bunch of exits. I was like in the basement doing solos, trying to catch back up. So a couple of exits I knew like, if these come up on the competition, then I'm gonna be like full of doubt. And a couple did show up. So then I was like in the door, okay, just don't do what you did in training a week ago and, and hold on a bit firmer. If you look back at those jumps now, I think I skydived with a lot of fire, but very little technique, and the guys did very well to keep it together, to hold grips where they had to wait for me, and eventually we became second after Canada, I believe, on that meet where those guys were actually pretty strong back then. But then the next year after, we really started to train in the tunnel, and the Wind Games was my very first proper meet that we did with the lineup, where we also did some decent training. And I still remember like the night before, like the final training sessions that we did, it started to click so good, and the feeling was so, it felt so right. We watched the debrief at Andy's place, I believe, the night before. We had spaghetti, and when I watched the footage, then I didn't say it to nobody, but for myself I said, you know what, if we don't fuck up tomorrow, we're gonna win this thing. I had in my own mind.
So you had a pasta party there too? On the
Yeah.
He runs marathon here, Mr. Bob, and he beat me finally.
Yeah, exactly.
Below 3 hours, 2:51?
2:52, yeah.
2:52.
Well, there's 60 years in between.
Yeah.
I mean,
So he knows pasta parties, right?
Well, that's not why we won, I guess, but after like a couple of rounds, we could keep track of airspeed, keep like the same scores, like stay equal up until, I don't know, round 5 or something. And then eventually I had, I think it was on a block 13, somewhere where Chris Farina, he got really, he got smacked, or a 1, yeah, he got smacked on the head so hard, apparently like halfway the round, and they were exiting right before, he was like almost falling on the bench, and it was like up to us, we were like, what's happening here? And I think after that round we really started to overtake them, and then it was just hold on, don't make a mistake, and just keep it going. And that's how also Dennis could keep the winning streak, keep it going on the indoor meets. And I think since then we haven't lost a meet with me until Bahrain. Yeah.
Until airspeed came back with a whatever. Let's move step by step.
Yeah.
So now
So that's
Bob comes in sensationally.
2015,
Yeah.
that was.
And in 16, all of a sudden, Roy is not there anymore, but Bob is there now, and no problem.
Yeah. I mean, I think in 2016 we skydived a little bit around our problems as well, because it wasn't yet at that same feeling for me that it was with that unbeatable feeling of 2014 yet. But I think we were a lot smarter, and so we managed our problems more. And we worked around it, and then it was to 2018 was another 2 years to work on those problems to go to a meet where airspeed was also very strong, and we had a very strange meet, but second world title for Bob, third one for us as a team.
It was close too, right? I mean,
it was
super seat.
We were tied as well on
was
round 10, yeah.
Still,
Going
I
into
cannot
round 10.
really explain what that roller coaster.
you cannot say choking. You cannot say choking because we were strong enough, but at a certain moment didn't click anymore like we were used to, and then that round with the 13 was a disaster for us. And
Strange thing. Well, I mean, sometimes we try to analyze it a lot, and until now, the 2018 World Meet, we cannot come up with a clear reason that's why it went so up and down. Because you start off round 1, you know airspeed is strong, we're strong as well, and then on one round you make 6 points difference, while you do a solid round, nothing exceptional, and they have like a round where you say like, huh? So it was very strange. Then and then it kept going with strange things, and then the world record jump was also something, because Dave was watching the exit of airspeed. He saw Mikhail going on his back. He watched back to us, and I was watching to the ground, and not like It was so many strange things happening.
You still own that world record, right?
We still own it.
was close.
It was close. Yeah. It could have gone.
Nuts.
But I mean, that world meet was just it was not our best performance. But although we did feel very strong going into that.
And now 2020 comes, and the start of a roller coaster, right?
Up until now.
Not only for HayaBusa, a roller coaster for the whole world, for the whole sport. So 2020, after 6 years with the same lineup, we just talked about, there comes a change of personnel changes, out of the blue, left and right, and 6 years, same lineup, and then bang, 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 bang.
So they've already,
I'm gonna get
go ahead. They've already announced that that Russia was going to be his last world meet, and that he that he would like to take the camera slot. And then COVID hit, and the world meet was in doubt, and then it got delayed 1 year and all that. So he decided to take the step sooner and let Michele enter the team to bring young blood. I think that was the right timing as well. So that was another personnel change. It was also the time where Luc van Blitsom went into his retirement. So it was the perfect swap, let's say. And yeah, we brought up Michele, who initially took inside center slot. So we put him in the slot of Dave. His size and his intelligence was perfect, and so we could keep everybody around him in the slots that they were 100% comfortable with, and it was only him that we need to work in his slot. Although it's a big slot, big shoes to fill as an inside center, but he did really, really well. We went to the world meet with him in 2021 in Russia. Strange conditions, obviously. Only 6 rounds done. We performed well. Unfortunately, airspeed wasn't there. It was against rhythm then. So yeah.
If airspeed had been there, do you think?
I don't know. Nobody knows. It's speculation, obviously, but we take nothing away from rhythm. They won their nationals back then, and
you still remember that national?
That was the highest average.
That was our highest average.
That was a fantastic meet.
Yes, that was our highlight.
They were battling against each other, and we were like, that was the top of notch. That was the best of the best, I think.
So yeah, that was world title number 4 for the team, and then I think world went back to like a second lockdown or whatever it was, and then Andy decided to stop. Then the roller coaster kept going, so we picked up this guy, Neil.
So did you know this kind of thing was going on there? And he never indicated that he would leave, right, or stop?
No, it became a little bit clear a couple of weeks before the real announcement.
Oh, there wasn't.
There was already some things going on. So we knew also that the decision was going to fall after the CISM in Qatar at the end of 2021, right?
Correct.
And Neil you were not a soldier by then, right?
No, not yet. Because a little bit the same with Ray, because like with the first contact I had with Dave about the team and my first training camp, it was like a month in between.
Yeah.
Same as Ray has.
Yeah.
Sorry.
About. Yeah, it was like, and it was also here in Zephyr. Like early November we had some contact, and in December I was here. So everything went so quick, and then I did a couple camps here. We did the indoor training with the World Cup indoor in Charleroi. It's like my first training block, I'd say, and then it was my boot camp for 3 months.
And
that's
then
when Dave came back in. So it's a really similar
like
story
this
than
year.
you have with Ray now.
Yeah.
It's like almost the same.
And then also the same as like then each of you, I mean you first, competing with 3 world champions, about world-class competitors.
Well, a little bit different situation since we decided to move Michele from inside center to outside center. Because he flew that slot already with the Italian national team. So he had some background, and Neil was in his previous team inside center, and also again looking a little bit at size and what Hayabusa likes as a style of having I'm not going to say bigger, but the more solid guys.
Muscular. You can say muscular.
Yes. And to work and let the outsides work on the center. So we put Neil in the slot that he knew he flew it left-handed, so he had to fly right-handed with us. And Michele took Andy's slot. And that's so now instead of having only one slot with others being 100% comfortable in the slot, we had actually a little bit of a new center. Okay, Michele was a world champion in inside center, but he also had to learn to fly, and I had to learn to fly with him. So there was more variables there.
So almost the same, similar, not exactly the same, but you know, you and 3 world champions basically. You know. And we talked about this a little bit. You know, that is, I mean, on the last conversation, that is some kind of a pressure, right? I mean, you're under a lot of pressure.
Yeah, because I was there to defend the title in Eloy as the world to compete in the team that won the last 4 world championships. So
pressure is like
was some pressure. Yeah. So let's see how it goes. So there was pressure, but like we also knew how strong airspeed was compared to us. So we knew they were, we will not, if they had every jump on video, we would not even be close. And it almost happened because Brandon lost one GoPro during the competition, so could have been really close. So there was pressure, but I think last bit, for example, with Bob, because they knew they were at the top at that level, and we knew with me we're not going to fight for the win. And silver was like the highest that was possible when we got that. So we're really happy with the result, like in Eloy, because we knew like that was a solid result. Like then.
Did it feel already a little bit different now, a year later at the World Cup? Was it like, it was not like Eloy anymore, you felt already like, well, you know, I'm a part of that now, or do you still, you said the other day, which was very humble, but you still feel like, you know, the guys are so much better than I am actually and so much more experienced. But if you compare that with, you know, between Eloy and Voss.
Yeah, I felt like a big change, like let's say the last 2 months, for example, before Voss, that like the first year, for example, it was really focused on me. Like all the debriefs was on me, Neil do this, do that, or like do it like that. And then the last 2 months, let's say, it was more like a debrief as a team. Mm-hmm. Like it was still most on me, but it's in a different way. That you look at the videos more as a team and how we do things and not only on me. So
I think if I can pick him, I think when we were training with Neil, he only had 1 year to prepare himself for the World Championship in Eloy. But 1 year later, we already felt like right before going to Voss, hey, if we can have 1 more year going into Israel, we can be a contender again to try to win. Yeah, right. And then sadly enough, Michele decided differently. Yeah, but we had as a group. Yeah. Because I told him one day before. I mean. 1 day before Michele actually told his announcement, I told you like, hey, within the group, man, this is awesome. We have 1 year. Awesome. Yeah, we feel good. We like to hang around each other. We like to because we spent 11, 12, 13 days a month, within the group, sleeping, eating, everything. And so you need to be good friends to hold that together. And I told you 1 day before, it's like, hey, within the group is fantastic. I just think like, hey, next year we can be a contender for first place. And then of course the bomb dropped, and then what do you do?
I mean, that was the goal as well. Like I said to the team, like actually when Neil did his first world meet, we tried to have as little pressure as possible on him because it was just irrelevant that you would set a goal. You just see where you end up. And I think maybe also because of that, we jumped so well. Obviously, we're always comparing with airspeed, but like slowly but surely, France is coming into that picture now. Yeah. And for Voss, we started putting a little bit of pressure on ourselves because obviously we need to, well, as a military team and for ourselves as well, you want to perform. And so, as they've said, we felt like we could become a contender in Israel, and that was also the goal: is to go to Israel and be able to fight for first place. If we get it, cool. If we don't get it, but we were in the fight, that would be goal reached. And then to go on to 2026 and go for the gold for sure. But now, obviously, with the bombshell that came from Michele, that whole situation changed now, and we have a youngster in the picture.
No Michele, no Israel.
No.
Everything is back to scratch.
Yeah.
So it was interesting because all the changes, all the in the past happened after a world championship, not after a World Cup. So it's the first time that this comes with a different timing actually. Not that it really makes a big difference, but
it does, because it gives him a year max. Again, like Neil, same situation, and also we were coming after Eloy. We were second in the world, and then eventually France just hopped over quite aggressively, and we didn't understand it that well. Like, how is it that France is now hopping over us in a few months while we were in Eloy, like we had a solid distance from them. And but I think in the long run, if you look 1 year, 2 years further, 3 years further, we would eventually take a bigger leap, because the way how we skydive and what we want to show and what we want to as a technique is not short term. It's a long term project, and that's, I think, the difference between where France is right now and eventually where we got caught up in third place instead of second.
Yeah, first step is done. You beat them already now, because now you have the youngest competitor of all the top teams, so you're one step ahead with that already. So between Ray and are you communicating also kind of your similar experiences or similar situation? Are you talking about this? Like, you're the youngest team member, and can you give him advice or experiences, anything like this? Is that a topic at all?
Yeah, it's a little bit like the natural way. We all talk as a team how the experiences are and how you feel in the team and what you want. So I think we spend a lot of time together. So naturally
this is a week. This is 1 week with Ray.
That's right.
There's not so many things that we can discuss. The only thing where we don't give up. Because we play cards and we just say like, hey, it's not because you're losing now that you have to give up. So,
and yes, losing.
you show character right here in the game.
And you're just enjoying the ride at the moment. Yeah, that's all you can do, right? Well, yeah, so final word. You get the final word now already. What is your impression so far? Is it really like a trip? Like a journey to something that you have no idea where it is coming from?
Yeah, it's just the beginning of a really long road. I'm enjoying it, but I still have to learn a lot, and that's why the team is really helping me for reaching the goals.
Did you have to sign a contract now that? I mean, everybody. You have
Nobody can leave.
You have 10-year contracts yet.
Nobody can leave.
Nobody can leave.
That's done.
Yeah,
No, but I think in his place, it's like a bullet train. At the moment, he just steps in and suddenly new gear, new helmet, new this, new that, then technique, new this, new that, exits, this. It's like, before we came here, we already said like, hey, buy yourself a thick book, because you have to write a lot and you have to study. It's gonna be an adventure for sure. It's gonna be he's gonna get a lot, but he has to work his ass
Are you
off.
taking notes? And I mean, of course you do, I'm sure, right? Taking notes and all
Yeah,
that.
of course.
Mentally and
I
physically.
think all of the things are important, but the very first time he came to my house, he was gonna drive me to the wind tunnel. He went to the toilet, and next to my toilet is like the replica of the Excalibur. So he came back into my kitchen. He was like, "Is that thing I was like, mm-hmm." And like the look he had in his eyes, that's what's gonna push him forward in the next months, years. So I think all of those things that you need to do to get there. As long as you have that goal, and I believe he has it already in the back of his mind, then we will be good.
Get your name on that thing.
Yeah.
Step by step. We're not gonna skip steps. We're gonna do it step by step. I'm gonna teach him everything. It's gonna be perfect, but it's not gonna be a giant leap from now up until the upcoming World Championship. We're gonna do it step by step. We're not gonna go into a rush.
Man, this we haven't even done a lot of storytelling. It was almost just really history of the team basically, but we eventually arrived, and this is probably the longest NSL talk ever. I'm sure I have to rush out of here now to make it back. And what time is it?
10 after 5.
Oh, there we go. Oh my. Amazing. But it surely was not boring. Not for me, and I'm sure it's not boring for anybody. So even though it's the longest one ever. But thank you very much. I was so much hoping for that and thinking about this, that we could have the nerve and the patience and the time to do that. Thank you very much in the name of many other HayaBusa fans.
Thank you, Kurt.
Thank you.
Have a good trip back home tomorrow, right?
Thanks.
Thank you.